Okay, let's just add an IK handle down here. We'll line it up with this bone. We'll add a lock up here. Then we'll associate it with the IK handle. Right mouse click on the IK handle. And just get rid of these so that you can see. Get rid of all these options, all the usual stuff. And then drag this and you can see the IK handle, and it's locking up here so nothing else can move from that point. So the length of chain is basically from here to here. Wouldn't it be useful now if we could save the individual, well, we could save this whole skeleton. That's just shown you how to do before. But wouldn't it be useful if we could save limbs? So we have a basic skeleton, and then we can attach various arms or legs or different permutations of hands or feet or wings or tails, you name it. The list goes on and on and on to that just very quickly with a double click. And the fact that it would also save everything like your rotation locks and your IK handles and chains and what have you, so that when you added them to a new skeleton base, that they would all be included automatically. That would be a really neat feature, and TS has it. It's called the limb library. Okay, I'm going to make a new library. So down to the bottom, library browser. Right mouse on main library place. I'm going to go create a library, and I'm going to call it A, as I told you, because it makes life easier. When I reopen TS, this will be towards the A's rather than scrolling down the list. My test limbs, and I'm going to make it of type skeleton, and click OK. First time it'll come up at the bottom of the list, so let's just double left mouse click on that, and here we've got our new limb library. Now here's a tip for you. Here's a limb library I've built up with various test bits. At the minute I've got it as writing only. This little 1D, if you change it to 2D you get pictorial. If you change it to 1 and 2, you get both the writing and a little picture. You'll find this is going to be a useful thing to know, particularly when you start doing limb libraries full of limbs, because limbs tend to be relatively small and spindly, and they're very hard to see. I'm going to give you an example of that. In order to save a limb, I can just control left mouse and drag. Look how small that is. You can probably not even see it on this video. So I'm going to change this to 1D and 2D. Now what's happened there, it is saved it as a skeleton. I've just dragged the leg over, holding control, and it's saved it as a skeleton. As far as TS is concerned, that is not a limb. That is just a whole skeleton, because it doesn't know the difference. So you have to be able to tell it the difference between what's a limb and what's a complete skeleton. So let me just right mouse on this and delete it. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, I do. So how do we do this? How do we save it as a limb and not a skeleton? Alright, if I go into my tool and left mouse click on that joint, these are the properties for the joint, and you've got a limb tag and a symmetry. So in the limb tag, just type leg. Now because we're looking at this face on, this is his left leg, so change that to left. Okay, now on this one, it's also a leg. And in this case it is the right, so we don't have to do anything, just hit return. Let's go over to our libraries, come back to here with control, it's with the build skeleton tool, control, left mouse, drag it over, and this time it is a leg. It knows it's not a skeleton. Now, interestingly, if I double left click on this, what it will say is basically anywhere where it has a limb tag of leg, which in this case is here and here, add a leg to it. So before we do that, just to show you an operation, like that, this is using the remove limb tool. So now he hasn't got any limbs. I'll just straighten this up. Okay, so I'm just going to double left mouse click. It could be in object mode. I'll do it in object mode. And anything that has a leg on it, has a limb tag, automatically gets this leg. Not only does it get the leg, but it gets the IK handle as well. So now, what you'll find is that the IK handle on the limb was associated with this lock up here, but this lock is on the spine. Unfortunately, we didn't name this lock so that it knew it was associated with the limb. So what we need to do is we're going to delete this leg, right mouse, delete. Just right mouse click on this lock and you see it's lock type both, etc. Under the default tab, if you left mouse and hold it down, you'll have a menu, bring it down to tags. And what we want is for this to be leg, and it's in the center because it's attached to this bone and it's appropriate for either left or right legs. Hit return. Now let's go back in the build skeleton tool, control down and drag. We've got leg. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. So here we are with our basic skeleton. We want to add 2 legs. Okay. And it still hasn't done it. Why not? There seems to be a bug in TS where if a lock is on the main hierarchical thread, for want of a better description, the spine in this case, it doesn't realize that the lock is associated with a limb. If the limb had been on the leg itself, it would have worked fine. The lock would have worked and been activated. But because this lock is actually on the spine rather than on the leg, it hasn't saved that connection, which it should do. This is a bug. Hopefully it'll be sorted in a patch. So it's still quicker, because what you can do is you just come into the IK Handle Build Modify tool, left mouse click on the IK Handle, activate that. Same for the other one. It's still quicker than building the 2 legs. Now you've got your motion. Obviously the limits need to be sorted out, but you get the idea. Okay, so I did that to show you that basically if a lock is on the main spine as opposed to on the actual limb that we have just copied or pasted from the limb library, the lock won't be activated, so you have to reactivate it. We'll call it a day for this video, and we'll go on to do some more with the limb library in video number 14. IK Handel, see you soon.